Despite increased calls for Joe Biden to step aside, he says he's staying put in the presidential race. Joining me now to discuss more is former Victoria Liberal Party President Michael Kroger. Michael, great to have you on the show. Now, what I'm hearing is that he has to keep talking tough until he has to step aside. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's correct. He says he's running. Jules says he's running. His team around him, his press secretary says he's running. He's not running. Biden's going to have to withdraw. You can't carry on like this. I mean, the whole country now, the whole world knows that he's not mentally up to it. He's not physically up to it. And he's putting on a brave face. He says he's going to run, but I can tell him now he's not going to run. He'll stand down either before the convention, at the convention, or after. He won't go to the November election. As president, as the candidate, well, he may as president, but not as the candidate. And the question now is who's going to be Kamala Harris's vice presidential pick. It can't be Gavin Newsom from California because they're both from California. That won't work. You can't have the presidential candidate, Kamala Harris and Newsom, both from California. So she'll pick someone else, probably someone like Pete Buttigieg or another person. But as to your main question, no, Biden says he's staying. Well, I can tell him now he's not.
And did you see that letter he wrote to the Democrats? Do you think there is a lot of cohesion within the Democratic Party?
Oh, I'm sure. There appears to be a group around Biden. Obviously his staffers, his wife, his family, and that's fair enough. He's got a hardcore group of people that have barricaded themselves in the White House. It's the last gasp. But increasingly you're seeing senior Democrats coming out saying, listen, he's got to consider his position. Some of the more senior ones in due course will come out. Keep your eye on Nancy Pelosi because she's influential over him. And she knows, as they all know, that this is just not sustainable. I mean, we've seen so many videos and speeches and the debate, etc. It's a sad thing, but he's 81. He's not up to running for president again. You need a president that can work after 8 o'clock and that can do more than sort of 10 to 4 in the afternoon. It's a sad thing, but he's not running, but until they blast him out, he's going to try and stay there. Hey, who wouldn't want to stay there? It's a great job, but he's not up to it, and
yes, it is.
He will be withdrawing.
Yes, my dad, who's 80, sympathises a lot. What do you think?
Well,
the Trump camp is making of this? Dad says he wouldn't be able to do half of what both candidates are doing. This could work for or against Trump, right?
Well, it's working for Trump, of course. He gave an interview with Sean Hannity last night, and it's devastating the way he deals with Biden, just damning him with faint praise, saying how sad the whole thing is. Trump's basically keeping his peace. He's not making outrageous statements. He's being restrained because that's the best thing to do. As Napoleon said, when your enemies are making a mess of things, don't interrupt them. And that's exactly what's happening here. Trump doesn't want to have any focus on him at the minute. He wants a barrage of criticism of Biden to continue. That's the best thing for him. And the next best thing for him is Kamala Harris running because she won't win. The only candidate I can think they would go to over Harris would be Michelle Obama, but she's shown no signs of wanting to run. I think it's too long ago for Hillary Clinton. They're the only two people more senior than Harris in the Democratic Party that they could really go to. I mean, why would you go to Gavin Newsom or anyone else over the vice president? It's very hard to justify why you're not picking Harris. So that's why I think it'll be Harris, but I can't see that it's going to be Biden. And Trump's just reveling in the whole thing.
And Putin as well. If
absolutely.
There's a Trump
win. I think my guess is that Putin would prefer Trump to win because Trump will find a way of resolving the Ukraine crisis by giving Putin some of the land he's taken from Ukraine, not all of it, but some of it. That'll Putin
ever
can
the
then
deal maker.
He's a deal maker. Putin will be able to declare victory. Zelensky will be able to declare victory because Putin's caught in this never-ending war, which he's not winning and not losing. It's just a stalemate going back and forth. NATO, inspired by Trump a few years ago, put up some more money and some weaponry, so they cannot let.
Finally, Michael, just very quickly, I want to ask you about what you think of the newly appointed Australian envoy on anti-Semitism and her, I guess, must be long to-do list.
Yeah, I mean, a great appointment. I'm a great fan of Gillian Segal, and I think it's wonderful that the Albanese government have appointed an anti-Semitism commissioner. I'm not so sure we need a commissioner for Islamophobia because the rise in anti-Semitism has outweighed that 1,000-fold. But that's up to them to decide. But yeah, a great decision and a very good appointment.
And Albanese also said that the Greens were using misinformation on the Gaza war for political gains. Your thoughts?
Well, I agree with him completely. I think the Greens' behaviour has been disgusting, and that Farouk interview on Sunday was one of the most notorious interviews I've seen in my life, where she wouldn't talk about the dismantling of Hamas, and she knows full well if there are elections in a Palestinian state any time in the next few years, if there's peace, then it's established, Hamas will get elected. So the fact that she's got no idea how to dismantle Hamas was terrible, and it was an appalling interview. And I think Albanese is absolutely right on that front. And I just hope Labor don't give them preferences in the next election. We'll see how serious Albanese really is about anti-Semitism and the views of the Greens.